It's early. Wait, right now they go? Wow. Good, how are you?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How are you, buddy?
How are you, man? Good.
Morning, everybody. Morning. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mayor's Night Out in the 3rd District.
Mark.
Welcome to Hammond Central. It's good to see you. I want to thank everybody for coming out. As we normally do, first off, I want to thank Principal Danica Harrison and staff of Hammond Central. Can we give it up for... When we set up Mayor's Night Out, we do it in schools on purpose because a lot of us don't get a chance to go to schools. It's a great place for meetings, but it's also a great place, like my kids aren't school age anymore, so it's a good opportunity for us to get into beautiful buildings that we invested lots of money in, like Hammond Central. So it's great to be in Hammond Central, great to be doing Mayor's Night Out in the 3rd District. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to remind you, this is on Go Hammond TV, it's live, so if you want to watch it again, you can watch it later on. But it is live, so when you're doing live questions, we're going to have people in the audience coming up and put a microphone in your face. They're not doing that because I can't hear you. They're doing it because the TV audience can't hear you, okay? So just ignore it. It comes in your face like that. Just ignore it, act like it's not there, and just go about your business, okay? Thank you for being here. Let's give it up for our host, Councilman Barry Tyler, the Hammond 3rd District.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I will keep my remarks brief. I know that you all probably have a lot of questions about some of the updates that I'm going to provide, so maybe we can get those out of the way and keep some of the department heads off the hot seat. Right now, I know that a lot of people have been complaining for years about Columbia Avenue, and I'm excited to announce that it was originally supposed to start May 19th, but it's been pushed back until May 27th. But you'll start to see lane closures on Columbia from 167 to Summer Street, Dean, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we're happy that that is getting the attention that it deserves. A couple of the other things that I'm really excited about and want to thank everybody who played a role in this, but there for years been getting complaints about the apartments on Roof Street, and happy that those have been demolished. They were not only a eyesore, but I think the people in the community were complaining about different things that were taking place there too. So I know our police department was monitoring that building, but they're no longer there. So really excited that that is down, and hopefully we can get some new homes in those lots as well. Memorial Park development is on pace to start construction hopefully towards the end of this year. They are working towards getting the single-family home lots up for auction, which hopefully will happen sometime late summer, maybe early fall, and then the development for the senior building will likely start sometime next year as well. I know, Mayor, you're excited about the Sportsplex expansion and the new volleyball and basketball courts there and how things are moving there, so excited to hear more updates about that. Soon we'll have the Huhtamaki ribbon cutting, which should take place sometime over the next couple months. Excited about that expansion. It was somebody got a number? About $100 million expansion, and they've been working on it for the past couple years, so excited about that. Just across the street, Swanell took over that property where the Carpenter's Hall was, and they should be wrapping up their new build soon here as well. So really excited about all of these developments. I know one other thing I've been getting a lot of questions about is Harrison Park. We've been planning that for some time now. We can go into more detail in a little bit in partnership with the Parks Department, but we were awarded a grant 2 years ago now, Jim. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
And the timeline for that grant is wrapping up, so we hopefully will see movement there soon. We're going to start with renovating the pond in partnership with Parks Department. I know, Mayor, you have agreed to contribute a portion of the funds for that matching grant as well, so excited to get that work started and really revitalize that park, because we know that it is part of the key to downtown. We see a lot of downtown development with the new apartments, new businesses coming down there, and one thing that people are asking about is where is our green space, and so So excited to give some attention to Harrison Park and really see some momentum build around the developments there. So we think that'll probably be a 4 or 5 year plan, just given the cost of everything and everything that we want to see be done there. But really excited to get that kicked off and off the ground too. So that is the end of my remarks. If you do have any issues outside of what you hear tonight, of course, you can contact me directly. We encourage everyone to use the 311 app as well. I know myself and all the department heads check that on a regular basis, so please continue to utilize that. But feel free to reach out if you have anything that you want to ask about or if there's any updates that you need. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman Berry. Very nice. And Councilman Berry's right about the 311 app. It's a way to go to the front of the line. What happens the old-fashioned way, when I first took office, you have an issue in the community, you would call the mayor's office, you would call the council office, and there would be 20 or 30 different call-ins that happen, right? And that still occurs. It's not to the same extent it is, because now we have the 311 app that goes right to the department. Like if you call in graffiti to the mayor's office, we have to be like, okay, is that in the Port Authority area or in the park department? And then we take your message and we forward it. Sometimes it takes a day to get to the new department, and then they have to figure out, okay, how are we going to tackle this? If you do it by the 311 app, and let's say it's graffiti, it'll go right to Public Works. They'll know exactly who's responsible, and they'll fix it that day. It's literally a shortcut. Hammond 311. You can download it for free. If you have any questions, we have materials over here that tell you how to do it, but it's just like downloading any other app on your phone. So thank you for pointing that out, Councilman. All right, before we get started with normal Mayor's Night Out, I do want to remind you, Mayor's Night Out is driven by the written question, all right? We're here, we have written questions. I have my staff back there with the answer sheets, and basically if you have a question, you write it out, we put it on there. You don't have to put your name. You don't have to put your address. We ask that you do, so that we could get back to you. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Some people don't, no big deal. But we'll read the question, and then we try to stay on topic. So let's say you had a question about the South Shore line. We try to stay on topic, so we'll read your question, we'll answer it, and then I'll be like, hey, does anybody have any other questions about the South Shore line? And then if you raise your hand, we'll come up to you, and we try to stay on topic, okay? When I go to, hey, does anybody have any questions about the South Shore line? And you're like, Mayor, there's a pothole in front of my house. We're like, okay. But we're trying to stay on topic, okay? So we've done hundreds of Mayor's Night Outs by now, and we got it down to a science. So thank you for being here. We're starting off with the presentation today. We invest a lot in our employees in the city of Hammond. It's one of the most expensive things we do is investing in our employees, our first responders, our great city employees, our great facilities. But, you know, we voluntarily have a professional fire department in Hammond. We've always had it. We always will have it. It's more expensive than some communities, though. Okay? Like Munster, Highland, our neighbors, they don't have professional fire department. I think that's crazy because everybody has heart attacks. Everybody has things happen in their home where they need immediate assistance. And if that happens in Hammond, I have the peace of mind to know that right down the street from my house, I have fire station number 7, and I have professional firefighters that'll come and save me if necessary. That costs money. It costs more money, but it's worth it, in my opinion. And Hammond residents agree because we all get reelected every year, and we all support our fire department and our police department. I got a letter from an ER doctor that stopped my day. It's a doctor, Dr. Thomas Topoulos. Doctor, how you doing, sir? Could you raise your hand? Hi, everybody. Could you give Dr. Tom a Hammond welcome? I said he was an ER doctor. I'm not sure if was that right? You are. This is a letter. I'm just going to read it off if you don't mind. Could I first off, I'm going to embarrass this firefighter, and I'm going to have him come up in front of everybody if you don't mind, okay? So could we have Brandon Grasha come up here to the front, please? Could you give it up for Brandon Grasha, everybody? Hi, Brandon. How's it going? Nice to see you, Brandon. Come on up. I want you to be his maximum embarrassment. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Brandon. I want you to stand here, and you're going to, like, get accolades. So, all right. So I'm just going to read Dr. Topoulos' letter. My name is Dr. Tom Topoulos. I'm an ER doctor at Community Hospital in Munster. I'm writing you this message to commend paramedic Brandon Grasha and his colleagues on saving a young child's life last week. I was on shift when a Hammond Fire Department ambulance brought in a 1-year-old child that was choking on a toy ball. Multiple attempts of manually removing the ball by both the mother and the first responders were unsuccessful. After the child went cyanotic and unresponsive, Mr. Grasha realized that he had only seconds to act. He used a laryngoscope, blade, and forceps to remove the ball, and the child immediately began to breathe and cry. The child was brought to the ER in a completely stable condition as a result of Mr. Grasha's actions. I informed the family that they were very fortunate to have Mr. Grasha arrive to their home during this unexpected situation and that the child's life was saved by the paramedic. The family is very grateful to have their child cared for by one of Hammond's finest paramedics. I commend Brandon Grasha, his crew, and the entire Hammond Fire Department on their expertise and professionalism in this encounter and all interactions I've had with them. Sincerely, Dr. Thomas Topoulos. Let's give it up for Brandon Grasha, everybody. This plaque is presented to Brandon Grasha in recognition of your life-saving actions in March of 2025 as a Hammond Fire Department paramedic. Congratulations, Brandon. Thank you for it. I'm getting soft. I almost started crying like 3 times during that. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm going to blame it on, I'm 56 now, so I'm blaming it on my, I'm getting soft. So that was a nice, Brandon, you saved somebody's life. Isn't that cool? I mean, I tell you, it makes me very happy. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Again, Brandon, congratulations. One more time, everybody. All right, Doctor, you don't have to stay for Mayor's Night. You're more than welcome to. I appreciate you being here. Let's go ahead and start Mayor's Night out, everybody. That's a good way to start it. So we always start off by introducing the department heads. Let's go ahead and do it. First off, Alex. This is Alex Tahura. Alex is the, I always mess up.
Constituent Services.
Constituent Services. I always want to say Constituent Affairs. That doesn't sound right. So let's go.
Felix Gonzalez, Public Works.
Jeff Smith, Port Authority.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Jim Talon, Park Department.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Tanisha Greenwell, Controller's Office.
Andy Short, Police.
Bernie Grizzlia, Hammond Fire.
Sharon Daniels, Personnel, College Bound.
Brian Poland, City Planning.
Ron Novak, Environmental Management.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Scott Miller, Chief of Staff.
Barry Tyler, Councilman.
Kevin Smith, Corporation Counsel.
Ann Taylor, Planning and Development.
Jaime Prieto, Water.
Mylon Krasinski, Sanitary District.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Kelly Kearney, Inspection.
Juan J. Moreno, Economic Development.
Andrea Lewis, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Darrell White, Community Development.
Chris Sacaleras, Legal Aid Clinic.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Mark McLaughlin, Water.
The reason we go through the roll call like that, so that some of you may have questions that you're not comfortable asking over to so the whole audience could hear it. Come up right after the meeting. Go up if you have a question about a department. They identified themselves. They're the ones that run the department, so feel free to approach them after. This is the last Mayor's Night Out for the summer break, which is nice. We do 6 a year, Mayor's Nights Out. The next Mayor's Night Out's in the 4th District. It's going to be August 27th at Edison Elementary School. So we're doing our 4th District next. So here we are in the 3rd. Hopefully we have a lot of questions and we can get rolling. How are we doing?
Hi, Mayor.
Hey, this is Eileen Ibarra. She's the Special Events Coordinator. Eileen runs special events, obviously. This is a special event. Another special event is big one that we do in the summer is the Festival of the Lakes. We got our lineup set early this year. We're selling tickets. How's everything going?
Everything's going great.
Yeah. It's weird because we have this lineup we have this year, every night is selling around the same level, which is there's usually one show that's clearly selling more than the others. It's weird. This year, I think every night is a real solid act, so I'm excited.
Quick PSA regarding Fest. VIP experience passes do go up in price on June 1st.
Thank you.
So get your tickets.
And another thing about the Fest, sometimes we have concerts where you have to buy your tickets. There's no concert this year. They're all free shows this year. We do a concert if it's a high price act. We got all of our acts for a decent price this year, so we just threw them all out for free like we normally do. So anyway, looking forward to that.
I'm excited.
I could tell.
First question of the night. How much money is in the levy fund? And can that money be used for anything else besides the levy?
This is funny. Because Megan is our normal controller, okay? And she's been to about 150 mayor's nights out. And Megan, I can't off the top of my head think of any time she's ever been asked a question at a mayor's night out, right? So Megan couldn't make it today. There's a situation in her family going on. So Tanisha, Megan's number 2 shows up, and as soon as Tanisha shows up to mayor's night, you get a question. It almost is like somebody did it on purpose, but I'm not going to go there. It's been known to happen. But anyway, Tanisha, levy fund. Is that the total levy they're talking about?
Let me look it up, Mayor.
The Little Cow levy? Oh.
The what levy?
I thought you meant the budget, the tax levy.
It just says the levy fund.
How
I'm
about
not sure if
helping us
someone
out
in the
in the audience?
audience wants to
The levy fund?
rephrase their question.
Because the tax levy we do every year, our total budget's what, 160 million total with all different funds included, right? 161 million. Our entire draw. That's all sources of revenue, including gaming, including our water and miscellaneous revenues. That's what we have to operate with every year to pay all of our employees, do all the road work, do everything. Now, the actual tax levy that we pay is around 45 million, if I remember. That's what we pay, our property taxes supplies that part. So out of the 160 million total budget we have, 45 of it's coming from us, our property taxes, our businesses, things of that nature. Gaming revenues, 25 million-ish in that ballpark, and then just a lot of miscellaneous fees, pilots, water revenue, and things of that nature. That's our total budget, 160 million plus, give or take. I don't know if we're answering the question right. If you're talking about the Little Cow levy, that's a whole different type of levy. That's an actual levy that holds water back. That levy is doing really well also. It's holding water back. It's built. They built bike trails on top of it. I'm not in charge of that, though. It's in the Little Calumet River Basin Authority, run by a former councilman from Hammond's 5th District, Dan Ripe. They run that, and I think they're doing an excellent job, I'll be honest with you. And I always like it when Hammond people are running outside authorities because I think they're partial to where they grew up, and I feel that way when I see Councilman Ripe. I feel like he still loves Hammond a lot, and I think we get special attention, but I wouldn't say that out loud. Sorry, yeah, mayor's night out on TV, but I do. I feel like Dan does a good job, so. I'm not sure if we answered your question the right way, but if anybody has any questions about those 2 issues. All right. Tanisha, you got anything you want to add to that? No. That's the first question. Yeah. Welcome to Mayor's Night Out, Tanisha. All right.
Regarding the 26 and 2700 block of Cleveland, the streets fill with water, cars park on parkways on both sides, and it possibly needs both streets done.
Okay, cool. Dean, where are you?
Down here, Mayor.
Dean is city engineer. He lives in Hammond's 1st District. Dean is a professional engineer. He's also in charge of something we call CIB. You'll hear that thrown around, Capital Improvement Board. It's important. It's something we created right after the pandemic, and it's where all of our infrastructure money goes through now. Dean, the council has 3 appointments to that board. The mayor has 4, which is typical in city government. And I think 3 council members themselves usually sit in that role. I know Councilman Berry sat in that role before. Problem is, the amount of money they have to spend is dwarfed by the need in the community. So the need is up here, the amount of money available is down here. So it's a constant budgeting issue for Dean. He's trying to figure out the worst roads. They get the attention first because they're the worst of the worst. And so anyway, Dean, I sort of set the plate for you. How you doing?
Great, Mayor. How are you?
So we have complaints on this one about Cleveland. I forgot the address. I know we wrote them down.
2700 block of Cleveland.
Okay, do you know anything off the top of your head about that?
No. We evaluate all the roads in the city every 2 years as required by the legislature. We put together a plan to resurface roads, and so that's sort
So
of
if
how
I
we
lived
follow.
on Cleveland and I wanted to see what the grade that they got, could I come to your office and get that?
Yeah, we could provide that, or you
Okay.
could send an email
That's
and I
something
could
to
tell
think
you what it
about
is.
for the audience, because a lot of times you're out there saying, my block needs attention, I need you to pay attention to it, and then you come and you see your grade, and maybe the grade's a B. If I didn't agree with your grade, can you appeal that?
Yeah,
somehow?
so it's a little bit different than that, right? We score them based upon what improvement can be done on that road. So if it's a candidate for overlay, we put it in that category. If it's a candidate for reconstruction, we put it in a different category. So that's how we rate the roads.
Okay. So when you get a complaint like this, what do? You write it down, check it out the next day?
Yeah, we'll take a look at it and we will try to get it on a schedule, but this year's resurfacing program is pretty well scheduled.
Okay. I don't know whose question this was, but that's the engineer right there. He's in charge of capital improvements. I'm not saying not to talk to anybody else, but I think half the problem people have with government is they go to the wrong place. I think if we could figure that problem out, things would go so much smoother in City Hall, is getting you to the right place. Because a lot of times people just call the mayor's office, and then we got to figure out where it goes. And then sometimes the messages get lost in translation, whereas if we called the right place initially, it may have worked differently. So anyway, CIB, Dean, thank you for the question. Anybody want to follow up?
So we could do some drainage review too. We work with the sanitary district on if there's any improvements that need to be done. There was a mention about parking on curbs too.
Okay.
In that request.
Okay.
Which would be
well, obviously,
others.
Who's got that one? Let's put PD in code on there also, okay? So everybody gets a copy. So what we do is, so the person that filled that out, they got the address, they got the complaint on there. Sometimes they'll put their name on there. I photocopy that. I send one to me. I send one to, in this case, Dean's going to get one. Code enforcement's going to get one. PD's going to get one. So everybody gets the same complaint. So that's why written complaints are good. We just spread them around the administration and presumably act upon them. So now, sometimes we can't act immediately. So let's say we agree with this question. And yeah, those blocks are bad. They need work immediately. We agree with you. Can you do it tomorrow? No, because we don't have the money and we need to budget for things like that. So even if we agreed with this, it would take us probably a year to act. So, okay, like just setting the stage. You have to have the proper expectations. There's one thing I've learned about city government. It's slow, and it's because of money. I have so many ideas. I drive down the street, I'm like, that building, we got to get rid of that building. And then you realize we don't got the money. Once you do find the money, you got to go to the lawyer, and the lawyer's got 10 steps they got to go through before you can do it. It's just, you got to go the right way or else it messes everything up, so.
Mayor, one of the things I've learned in this position is that sometimes when there's standing water on a street, it's by design, so it doesn't flood the basements on those streets.
Good point.
I'm not saying that's the case in this situation, but sometimes it's designed to drain a little bit slower, because if all the water went down at one time, it'd come up into your houses.
Yeah. We've seen neighborhoods get saved sometimes by leaves when it blocks going to Scott's Point. We all want to go out there and rake the leaves off so that the street drains, right? There's sometimes that saves us because that water is on the street instead of in our basement.
It's saved City of Hammond a lot of times.
Right. So going back to, and I get it, like when it's raining, we want to go out there and we want to scrape the leaves off and we want to drain our street. But when we're getting drenched in rain, it's better to have water on the street than in our basement. So it's one of those weird
We would
situations.
prefer you to call the Hammond Sewer Department, and we would go out there and send a representative to actually clean that structure to make sure the water goes down,
Okay.
at a
Thanks, Jack.
decent
How did you
pace.
get a hold of Hammond Sewer Department?
853-6405, extension 637.
311 app, yeah.
Or 311.
Did you have any more numbers than that? I mean,
Or 311.
Yeah, it's like the old system of
Well,
works faster.
the 311 is answered by myself at 4 o'clock in the morning, so those will be dished out at 7 a.m.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jack. All right. Any follow-up questions on this? Excellent. By the way, Councilman Barry mentioned Swanell. Super proud of that. That project was slow too. That was project started before you were councilman, probably, right, Councilman? And it's really satisfying to drive by and see a corporate headquarters getting built across the street from Hammond Central. That's a big deal for us, and that took a long time, and I'm real proud to see it getting ready to open up. So right across the street. Third District's got a lot going on right now. So, all right, how you doing, Ida?
Another quick PSA, we have city magnets with all department numbers in case you need one right back here at this table.
Yeah, city magnets with a whole bunch of phone numbers, but we should just put 311 on the top, right? We're like, call 311, call 311. Here's a whole bunch of phone numbers. Right.
311
Those
has
are
a
super
small
popular.
sentence on it.
What's that?
There's one small sentence regarding 311 on
Yeah,
there.
right. We got to work on that next year.
Can residents surrender a dog at Hammond Animal Control?
Can residents surrender a dog at Hammond Animal Control? Yes. Chief, could you grab the microphone? If it's a dangerous dog, this, there's no nice way to say this, okay? I go through the Hammond Animal Control and I look at the dogs, and you're like, oh, that dog's cute. It's going to get adopted. And then I see a dog that wants to rip my arm off, and I'm like, I got a bad feeling about this one, right? I don't think that dog's going to get adopted. What makes you say that, Mayor? He looks like he wants to kill me. That's the first thing, right? So when you drop off a dog at Hammond Animal Control, just put yourself in the right frame of mind. If it's a dangerous dog, I get it, right? If it's a dog that's just saying, I don't want this dog anymore, I would hope maybe you could try to find somebody first, or maybe we could try to find somebody, but there's a limited space at Hammond Animal Control. I don't like talking like that, but it's the facts of life. This is a big city. There's a lot of animals running around, and that's a hotel I wouldn't want to check into, okay? So who's going to talk on this, Chief?
I will let Bunner.
Hi, Captain Bunner. How you doing?
Hi, Mayor. I'm doing well. Lainey sends her regrets. She couldn't come tonight because she wasn't feeling good.
You what?
Lainey couldn't come tonight. She wasn't feeling good. She sends her regrets.
All right.
Hello, everyone else. Yeah, you're exactly right. All other options should be exhausted. And I know from the question that Humane Indiana out of Munster was also asked, or maybe the Humane Society out of Gary, they're two different things. So we'd like to see some kind of rehoming or some kind of fostering, and Hammond Animal Control be the last resort.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a nice way to say it, right?
Yes, sir.
If it's a dangerous dog, take it to Hammond Animal Control. Let's just be realistic. I had a dog situation one time at my house, okay? I had a dog that was nipping only little girls. It was so weird. This dog was perfect, except for when it was around little girls. There was something about little girls that wanted to bite him. And it's like, that's not good. I'm the mayor. I can't have my dog biting people, right? So we took it to Hammond Animal Control, and it was a nipper. Didn't turn out so well, okay? So, let's just be real about what we're doing here. Hammond Animal Control, like Captain Bunner said, last resort. If it's a cute little poodle, go to Munster, go someplace like that, try to find somebody, okay? It's a limited space. Hi, Councilman. How you doing?
There are a lot of coyotes currently running throughout the community. Is there a mechanism in place?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, coyotes, we don't take coyotes, Councilman. Yeah. They are, and I agree with you, by the way. I see coyotes in my neighborhood as well. And we cannot take wild animals at animal. The domestic animals are overflowing us, so we can't start taking coyotes. And if it's coyotes, then it'll be deer next, and we just won't be able to handle it. Hi, Councilman. Did you?
I was just going to say, I think this has been going on for at least a couple of years. We've been hearing complaints about coyotes roaming through people's yards, and I actually reached out to the DNR about the issue to see if they would do anything. And the only time that they would come in and investigate, remove it, is if it did attack or if it was harmful. And I haven't heard of any reports of,
I agree with you.
of them attacking. So as of right now, we can just continue to monitor. If you have small pets, keep them in the house.
I agree with you.
Monitor them at all times if they're outside, because we do see them roaming around the neighborhood.
That's a great point. Little tiny dogs. I have a little tiny dog. And another thing, a little tiny dog you have to watch out for is the bald eagle that flies around our city will eat my dog. It was eyeballing my dog one day. So if you have a small animal, coyotes, bald eagles, so. Any other questions on animal control? I appreciate the reason Captain Bunner spoke is Hammond Police Department runs animal control, and that's part of Captain Bunner's responsibilities. So, all right, let's move on.
Can the engineering department help get in contact with NIPSCO regarding a light that has been out for 2 months?
Yes. So, yes, we can. Is it written on there?
Yes, 6700 block of Alexander.
Okay. so that's going to the engineer, right? And do that to Alex also, okay? Alex's constituent services, right? I'm gonna get that right eventually. Alex, that's one of the main jobs. She's like a lawyer for you all right? She's like your advocate. So in situations like this, we know somebody from NIPSCO who's a Hammond kid, by the way. Another one of those, I feel like we have the inside track and we have a Hammond kid there, and we call up our friend at NIPSCO, and usually they take care of business for us. So I know Dean's usually the one. I wouldn't call NIPSCO yourself. You'll get a different reception than if it's the city engineer. True story, Dean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they're usually pretty good on this kind of stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And for those of you that are unaware of the difference between NIPSCO lights and ours, the difference is wood poles versus metal poles.
Yes, sir.
Wood poles are utility. Metal poles are ours. By the way, the metal poles are the city poles. I'm saying this because it happened in another part of the city. If you have a metal pole in front of your house, you cannot commandeer that pole, put your own little decoration on there. It's against the law. And you can't steal our bulb and put your own bulb up there. This is stuff that I didn't think I should have to say out loud, but you never know. Things happen all the time at the mayor's office. So, but it worked out. In this case, it was in Robertsdale. It was an honest mistake, and we returned it back to normal. But how are we doing on questions?
Very few.
Like the Cubs are playing at 6:40, so like it doesn't break my heart if it's a short mayor's night out. But like written questions keep this going. That's all I'm saying. How you doing, sir? Okay, let's use that. I'm gonna act like that's a written question. I love the topic. The South Shore train. Thank you. It's a written question. Let's talk about the South Shore line. South Shore line was supposed to roll this month originally, and it got pushed back. I was told to Labor Day, and then I read it's probably closer to Halloween today. Right? So we can't, now, the line, we see the line, right? The line goes from the Gateway Station, the new station that's running right now, and it goes all the way down to, I call it the Dyer Station, but it's the border of Munster and Dyer, right on Main Street. That's the end of that line. Once that line starts rolling, Hammond could begin work on the downtown train station. We've already got the money for it. We've already designed it. We know where it's going. NICD knows where it's going. So the day they start rolling that train, we're gonna start building that downtown train station. We got it all designed, we're ready to go, right, Dean?
Yeah, we're just doing final review on the 100% plans. And yep, we'll be bidding it in probably a month or so.
So I'm not sure if that answered your question, sir. Do you have a follow-up on that? Do you have any other questions on the South Shore? I'm not sure the exact schedule. I wanna say, during the week, they have 5 trains in the morning, 6 trains in the evening, something like that. I saw the schedule today, but I'm going off the top of my head. It's a decent amount of trains back and forth from Munster Station to Hammond Station. The cool thing is there'll be a couple trains a day going from Munster to Chicago, but a lot of the routes are just back and forth between Munster and Hammond. So think about that. If you need to get to Dyer or to Munster, you don't have to take an Uber, you don't have to drive anymore, you can jump on a train. Go down there, and there's gonna be 5 or 6 trains a day going back and forth. You could ride that back and forth. So we have new options for transportation once it starts. Did I say something you were gonna say? No, you hit it, yep. Any other questions, sir? Any questions on the NICD? I'm gonna go, Ann, could you grab a microphone? Ann's been in economic development for the city for over
13 years.
Okay. Now, we've been in charge of downtown Hammond for a long time.
Yes.
And downtown Hammond in 2025 feels much different than downtown Hammond felt when you first started with the city. Is that true?
Very true. Yeah.
Can you explain that?
I can explain that in that there's actually people in downtown for the first time in a long time.
They live there.
They live there. We have at least 30 people living in the bank building, which is redesigned former Bank Calumet building in downtown. We're working on 200 other units in downtown with the train station coming up. Everyone is excited to live in downtown.
You were going where I wanted. So you think that's the difference?
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
the
simple
difference.
fact
It's people,
that we're
it's
building.
activity. And it's slower traffic, so cars aren't flying up and down Homan Avenue. People are out and walking and sitting. It's quite lovely.
In fact, Dean, you're doing another project on Homan Avenue starting this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Could you explain that one
Very
again?
excited.
Yeah.
The Indiana Department of Transportation bid on Hammond's behalf the reconstruction of Homan Avenue between Russell Street and Douglas. This was a project we've had on the books for a while, but that bid came in on May 7th. We're prepared to move forward. We should expect to see some work starting sometime around likely July. But that's complete reconstruction of Holman Avenue to match that section to the north, but this is between Russell and Douglas. You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing, Christy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
You know, it's my first time doing this.
Really? Welcome. Christy's
Okay.
office manager in the mayor's office. Good to see you on the
too.
microphone.
Yep. So this next question says, need additional no parking signs along Kenwood between California and Delaware at Gibson Park. Only one sign, people are parking by playgrounds in no parking zones.
Okay. That's a lot. Could you copy me onto that? Did anybody catch that?
Basically,
Felix?
they're asking for additional no parking signs
Right.
on Kenwood between California and Delaware.
Okay. All right. We'll have to look into that. You got that, Felix?
No parking signs generally go through the Board of Public Works and Safety, so we can certainly put that in front of them.
Yeah, well-
They meet every Thursday.
Yeah, we'll look and see if there just needs to be additional signs if it's ready ordinance or
Okay.
whatnot, but if
Do me a
not-
favor. Can you copy Dean, Felix, and the district councilman on that, please? So that the district councilman's aware. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, so the
Oh,
next...
did you have a follow-up, sir? I'm sorry. Hey, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so on the Parkway side, on the other side of the park, there are two signs. The problem with the Kenwood, there's only one sign in the middle of the block, and it's facing traffic coming from the east going west. But people are coming from the west and pulling over by the playground equipment and parking on the no parking side. So I noticed tonight coming down Highland on your new Martin Luther King Park, you've got no parking signs on every one of your lampposts.
Yeah.
So it's obvious.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we've got lampposts at Gibson at all, so put some no parking signs on the
I have no problem with
lampposts,
that.
and
I'll be honest with you.
that would solve the problem.
Okay. We'll look
Okay.
into this. I promise you.
Thank you.
The MLK that was a whole process that came about. And quite frankly, Councilman Barry, I think it's working really well. In City Hall neighborhood, it's been going really well. Kids are happy, everything's going well. I think we've learned to not park in areas we don't need people parking. So if you're saying Gibson Park needs the same attention, I promise you we'll look at it, okay? Thank you, sir. It's always nice to see people follow me around at Mayor's Night, too. I know a lot of people go to a lot of Mayor's Nights. I appreciate you all a lot. So, and, you know, I take what you're bringing up very seriously. So that's why we take the written question. That's why we forward it around the administration. So thank you. All right.
Okay, next question is, well, it's not really a question. It's dead trees along Kennedy Avenue at 169th East Side between 169th and the tracks, all the way to 165th.
I'm working on that, Mayor.
On the east side?
Yeah, it's the new segment. We've
Yeah.
lost some trees on the new, the segment between 64th and 169th. Oh, yeah. So I'm working on that now to get those trees
Oh, I
replaced.
got you on the part that we're working on right now.
No, this is
Between
the part
60
we just completed, right? The downtown
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hessville
64. Gotcha,
section.
gotcha.
There are some dead trees. I'm working on
Yeah,
that
okay.
now to get that replaced, yep.
Thank you.
And I'm working with the Parks Department, Devin Wick, and
Copy Devin onto that so he knows also. Okay, Christy?
Okay. Next question is, can
Chris,
some... Sorry, what's...
Yeah, before we move forward, Mayor, I do want to, and Jim, hop in, please, because I'm probably going to misquote some information, but I do want to share that the Parks Department and Devin Wick, they are doing a forestry analysis of the 3rd District and identifying where we need more trees, where there's heat. What is it?
Jim?
What was the last part?
He's doing like an analysis of like the temperatures across the district to figure out where more shade or more coverage could be necessary, and then working with the SCA to plant more trees in Harrison Park and in other parts across the 3rd District. So excited for that. I know we've had some residents complaining about tree problems, and they've been removed, and now happy to see that they will be replaced.
Harrison got nailed by the Emerald
It did
Ash
by that
Borer.
storm, yep.
Oh, it was the storm? I thought it was that.
It was
or-
both.
Yeah, because I know MLK got hit real bad, too.
Yep.
Yeah. Jim?
Yeah, I lost a lot in the straight winds last year that we had at Harrison Park. So he is doing an analysis there. He also got some grant money to remove some dead trees in Harrison Park. And I know they're doing an analysis at Oxbow as well. So he's doing that throughout the
That's great.
city.
I love it. Hammond's a tree city, so I love that. It's great. Thank you for bringing that up, Councilman. All right, what do we got? I'm excited. This is going to be a good one, I can tell.
How much casino money has the city received as of 2025?
Altogether? I have no idea. I mean, it's a lot. 30 million a year, probably in the average.
Does anyone want to expand
$500
on
million?
that question?
$500 million in that ballpark?
My question was, what was the total amount of revenue? And I understand that the revenue.
You mean this year?
This year.
We got right around 24 million this year, which is down significantly. When you were a councilman, we would get 34, 35 million a year. We're getting like 24 now, and it's dropping.
You mean for last year?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Just to
sir.
expand on that.
2024, excuse me.
Just to expand on that question, I understand that. So the revenue is actually depleting because of the new casinos that are currently taking effect in that area. Am I correct?
There's more competition. That was one of the reasons I fought so hard with the Hard Rock, is it's a set amount. The gambling revenue is a pie that's this big, and Hammond had a significant piece of it. And when they relocated Gary's Riverboat to the highway, our slice would get smaller. I knew it, which is why, as your mayor, I fought hard and lost. And they relocated the Hard Rock, and it's kicking our butt, as I anticipated. So gaming revenue is under pressure, for sure. Definitely different than when you were a councilman, Anthony. It's definitely a different environment, so.
I understand that. And so in explaining that, I understand that the convention center is one of the topics that's coming up in our north region. So I did get an opportunity to listen to you, Mayor, on the radio as you explained how you felt about it. And so I applaud your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. All right, let's go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
Hi, sir.
we're supposed to take some of that money and put some street lights down in Rhode Island, Ohio.
Okay.
I see more wood and poles and more lights, but
Did you write that down, sir?
the regular, the regular streets,
No, I mean, I acknowledge.
Because, don't forget now, last year we took a cut, we had to shut the boat off, or casino.
And we
COVID,
did that during
right?
COVID, yes, sir.
Okay, but now this year, since we got the 24 million, we got to, focus on Rhode Island and Ohio and try to get just those last couple streets there done through 65th all the way down to the woods to 167.
I will take your recommendation.
Okay, but here I want to...
But hold it, no, I want to answer your question.
Oh, okay.
Just because we got 24 million doesn't mean it's like, okay, here's $24 million, go spend it. It's like, we get that money and a lot of it is obligated right off the bat. No, I know. I'm not saying no or yes, sir.
And the rest of the...
I'm glad you're asking this.
The rest of the streets are done,
But you wrote this down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
But
Could you make sure you get possession of that, city engineer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, so that we could take it under consideration, and I'm not saying no or yes, so.
Okay, but I want to get back to two thank yous from last meeting. Again, we thank you for getting the speed limit signs on Kennedy Avenue, going from 65th to 69th.
Thank you.
And we appreciate the bridge on Kennedy Avenue, halfway done.
Yeah, I
Very
appreciate
nice,
it too. In fairness, that's being done by the Lake County.
Smoother and stronger.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We do. You guys bring a lot to us during Mayor's Night, and we try to fix it. That's our job. Some of it's not possible. It's a little bit more difficult. Like, hey, could you do streetlights on these 4 blocks? So it's like, yes, we're going to take that under advisement. We're going to do our best. But if you're like, hey, can you replace these speed limit signs? Yes, we could do that. It's, so thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Has there been any conversation about traffic coming down Highland Street?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you start again?
Has there been any conversation about traffic coming down Highland Street? Have the
Yes.
city considered talking talking about slowing down the traffic because there are speeders and it's a two-way
Okay, are we
street.
talking Highland and State Line? Because that's usually what we're getting complaints about. Is that
I'm not sure there's not a
Could
100
Is
block
the person that asked the
listed.
question, could you clarify that? Is it Highland and State Line, ma'am? Thank you. Because I get asked this question a lot, and I appreciate, it might even be you asking the questions, I'm not sure. But we do there's conversation about this, and this is usually what I get, okay, ma'am? I'm not sure where you're coming from, but people that live on Highland see what we've done on State Line, how we've closed off some streets, and they're like, this stinks, Mayor. You're shutting off those streets, and then all the traffic, east-west traffic that used to go on those streets is going on Highland now, right? And that's not fair, because I live on Highland, and why don't you shut off Highland? That's typical of what I get, okay? I'm not saying that's where you're coming from, ma'am, but I do want to point out that Highland was built intentionally as what engineers call collector streets. Am I doing this right?
Yes, sir.
Collector streets are bigger on purpose. And you can tell collector streets usually by if they have a street light on Homan, okay? If there's a street light on Homan, those streets were built differently so that they could collect more traffic, two-way traffic. So if you look at Highland, it's literally physically bigger than some of the other east-west streets over along State Line, which is why they were shut down and Highland stayed open. I'm sorry, ma'am. If I lived on Highland, I'd probably be salty about that. But that's just God's honest truth. And so I'm willing to talk to you. I just wanted you to know what I've learned in all this time. So, could somebody get a microphone over to her? I'm sure she has a comment. Thank you, ma'am, for being here.
I understand that, but we also have parking on both sides of the street. We also have parking on both sides, and then we have traffic coming east and west.
Okay, and I know one of the things on this block that I've noticed is, and I don't know, where's code enforcement in here? Kelly, where are you? Hi, Kelly. You know this block. You used to be in charge of code enforcement.
Correct.
This block, if I remember correctly, we allow the cars to park with one the tire on the grass and one tire on the street. Is that still happening over there, ma'am, to get them out of the traffic?
No.
Is that acceptable, or, I don't know, I hear what you're saying. You don't like it.
Mayor, I believe she's saying that it narrows the street so much, having parking on both sides, that the cars have to pull over in odd spots to let traffic through.
Right.
Correct.
But as you said, it's a collector, it's going to have heavy traffic.
Correct. And it's difficult for me to get out of my driveway.
Because there's so much traffic?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Councilman, Dean?
Sir?
Could you grab a microphone? Maybe we could look at, I don't know, could you go over there and be an engineer and see if there's anything we could do?
Yeah,
I don't know.
pretend to be an engineer.
Are there any speed limit signs on that street? I'm
Well-
not sure.
Okay.
Uh,
Felix? Let's send Public Works and Engineering and PD out there tomorrow. Listen, I hear this too much, guys. In this block in particular, this nice lady brought it up. She said, do you ever talk about speeding on Kenwood? I knew exactly what she was talking about. We all know
Highland.
exactly what she's talking about. Okay, on Highland, excuse me. So I promise you we'll look at it, but I do want you to realize we have a basic problem, and the basic problem is your street was built wider on purpose, but I'm gonna see if we can help you, okay, ma'am? Thank you, I'm sorry about that.
Hey,
But
sir, tomorrow I will have our motorcycle guys over
Thank
there
you.
taking a look at that.
You know as well as I do,
Yes.
Chief, it's a cut through, and people that used to go on the other streets are now going on Highland, and this poor lady's trying to back out of her driveway, right?
Yeah, we'll saturate it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Mayor,
Hi.
Mayor, it's just me.
Oh, hey, Councilman, I'm like, where's this? I hear a voice.
Just a follow-up question. Dean, I believe we did a traffic study there before. Maybe it's time for another one?
Not on Highland.
We didn't do one on Highland?
We did a traffic study to evaluate that area to the south, Kenwood, Cleveland, Wildwood.
That was when we
Yeah,
did
that's
the.
what precipitated that out. I don't recall Highland being part
Well,
of
let's
that.
take a look at everything, okay? Thank you.
No, it's worth taking a look at,
Yeah.
sure.
All right, thank you for the question, ma'am. It's not the first time I've heard that one, by the way, so I sympathize. And quite frankly, I may have exacerbated the problem, being honest with you, I apologize, but I'm it's sometimes you get into a thing as mayor where it's like the numbers game. So like if I could help, out of 100 people, or let's say there's 1,000 people in your neighborhood, if 800 are helped by something I could do in 200, you start getting into games like that. And I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but I want to try to help you, okay? Thank you for being here.
Mayor, by the way, that's an honorary street, and his son is sitting there on the other side. So if you could just
Yes,
wave
it
your
is.
hand.
Mr. Lacko, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Honorary street.
Thanks. All right.
Can someone please state the main sources of revenue the city has that pays for all services?
Property taxes is the big one. We have miscellaneous revenue. We have pilots, which is above and beyond. Property taxes, we get $45 million a year from us, from our homes, from our businesses. That's our main source of revenue, and it's under attack by the state. I didn't even get into talk about SB1 because it's depressing, it's in detail, and I'm not going to, I think they're going to fix it. I hope they're going to fix it, and they still have time to fix it. So, but we have $45 million of property tax revenue. It comes from our homes and our businesses, and that's our main source of revenue. And it's capped. Your home is capped at 1% of its value. If you're in a rental, your rental property is capped at 2%. And if you have a business, it's capped at 3%. So, hey, I want to say thank you to Kathy, who's interpreting for us today. Can you give it up for Kathy, everybody? I come in here and talk real fast, and I always feel bad at the end of Mayor's Night Out because Kathy's trying to keep up with me, so I appreciate her being here. So, all right.
Can the appropriate department find a way to have an online database of all businesses so it's easy for anyone to look up and see if businesses are valid or if they are illegal businesses?
Kevin, grab that. I love
I'm
trying to
thinking we do have that list through the controller's
We do?
office.
Oh, I was
I don't know if
thinking
it's
more like-
available to the public though, but that's how we internally
Oh, so
check.
you have like the ones that have a business license, right?
Business license, correct.
Okay. So we do have, if you wanted to know, if they have a business license, by the way, not every business has a business license.
That
so.
is true.
Then the reason I went to Kevin initially is the Attorney General has something like that, doesn't he?
Oh, I'm sorry, thanks, Ian. The Attorney General has a consumer complaint department. You can complain, but as far
Secretary
as...
of State has it. LLC
Yeah, so
or
that's,
corporate, yeah.
I'm sorry, the Secretary of State, you can do what's called a business search and find out if someone's, if you know the name of a business, it'll tell you a lot of information about who's incorporated it or who the members are of an LLC, who the registered agent is, but you do have to know the name of the incorporated business, and a lot of times it's a doing business as, like you can see a storefront, it has a name on the wall, like, I don't know, Mayor Tom's, Gyros place, and
LLC.
LLC, and then, but it may be called,
Whatever.
Whatever LLC.
I have an
So-
LLC that's an address.
Sure. A lot of people do that
7235.
own property.
Right.
They, name it, 123 Sesame Street LLC, and that's just the name of their business. It doesn't mean anything as far as what's on the wall or on the.
So if you were
placard
wondering
in front
about a
of the
business, you could call City Hall, and we could pool to see if they have a city license. Not everybody does, though. Then you could check the Attorney General and see if there's anything fraudulent, but definitely check the Secretary of State. And that should definitely be in the Secretary of State's office.
The one thing I want to mention also, Mayor, is the Controller's Office. I want to give some kudos. I know you have as well. Lisa Serrano and Megan and Tanisha and others down there are just doing a really, really good job at making sure that businesses are now licensed. We have a lot more enforcement. If you are not licensed, you can be pulled before the Board of Public Works and be held accountable for that. There's fines that go along with this. So they're really doing a good job on getting businesses licensed.
Thank you, Kevin.
I have one more thing, Mayor.
Hi.
Mayor, I also like to remind that for contractors with the city of Hammond, all the licensed ones are on the city's website under gohammond.com under the building department.
Okay, so if you wanted,
hiring somebody to work on your house and stuff, yeah, you can look
and you
up
want to
their
make sure that
names.
they're good contractors, you can
Yes.
go to Go Hammond under what?
The inspections department, building division, and we listed the contractors by name and by type.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rich. So if in worst case scenario, call the mayor's office. Don't go to 311 on that one. Call the mayor's office. We'll help you out, okay? All right. I have people sitting there. Our job is to help you. You call up, I got a problem. That's what I need to hear. I go to work every day. Sometimes there's nothing going on. You're just like, but there's a problem. That's when we're working, okay?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Not to push
Hey, Chris.
311. Hey, not to push 311 again, but we do
Thank
have
you.
unlicensed business complaint that you can do through 311.
I've never seen you dressed up in baseball gear before.
Yeah, I think we tied.
The Brewers, I noticed.
Yeah,
Cubs rival.
I couldn't be the Cubs. They wouldn't let me.
Chris is in charge of IT. And could you say that again, Chris? I was thrown off by your baseball uniform.
That's okay. We have an unlicensed business complaint on Hammond 311. So
Thank
if
you.
you go into a business and you see that they're not posted, you can turn them in, basically.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. All right.
Right in the back, Mayor.
Hi.
We have a comment from the Lake County Health Department.
Hi. Lake County Health Department's here.
Okay. I'm with the
I think I'm the
mobile-
first person that's ever been happy to see the Lake County Health Department here.
Well, I'm here to offer a service to Hammond.
Thank you. It's good to
We
see you.
have a mobile clinic that will come out and do the vaccinations for the kids for school. We deal with both the insured and uninsured. We help everybody that we can, but we're having a hard time getting hold of people to find out what events we can come to.
Awesome. You're
So
at the right
I'm
place.
here for help.
You're at the right place. I would go talk to Alex and Christy, and they have my calendar, and I'm at a lot of places where a lot of other people are. That could definitely help, right?
Yeah, we can definitely get you some
Why
information.
don't you go to Alex? That falls in line with her job. Basically, everything falls in line with your job. so Alex will help you out. Alex has access to my calendar. We can get you to all the big events in the city. Thank you for being at Mayor's Night Out. We appreciate you.
I don't have any more questions, Mayor.
Right, this young man in front of you does, I have a feeling. He's
Yes,
been preparing these questions for a while.
Well,
so.
for safety to know, whoever's with the signs again, I want to point out that the road exit outs by Fifth Third Bank and 165th address, 1716, 165th. The west side of the Food for Less or so, there's no stop sign. So again, if I get a ticket or motorcycle policeman gives me a ticket, I can't pay.
Okay.
Mayor, that's actually private property. We've been having trouble with them. Code enforcement's on top of it.
Okay. Okay. Last thing is for our street cleaner. Very important. A lot of cars are still parked on the streets. So picture the street cleaner comes by, and he does more weaving in and out of the cars that are parked. And out of one or two oblong streets, we're only getting the street cleaned 22%. So can we try to post some signs to tell the people, hey, park on one side or so, to make it easier for the street cleaner? Because here you got to figure the math. You know, we got the mayor and the council, wants to show everyone how good the streets and curbs look by 100%. But if they're only clean 22%, well then here, the cost of the equipment, use of the water, the street cleaner himself wants to look good. He gets up early, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and using tax people's money. So out of the 22%, out of the 100, where does the 78% go?
Okay. Did you write all that down? Okay, thanks. I was listening to you, and I could tell you, I know one block, and you were talking more about street sweeping, but I'm going to talk about snow removal, okay? And I think what you were trying to say is maybe we should get more involved in neighborhoods and try to get them to relocate cars so that we're more effective with the street sweepers. And I've heard this when it comes to snow plowing also. And that's really for the city, for us to be able to contact everybody. But usually where I see that, I see it in the neighborhood. And I know one person off the top of my head, he was a leader in the neighborhood. He lives in my neighborhood now, but he lived in the 4th. And whenever it snowed, he would pound on everybody's door and say, move your car across the street. And then he would coordinate it for the neighborhood, and he would work with the sweeper so that they would go down one side, and then he'd pound on everybody's door and say, move your car to the other side of the street. And by the way, that guy's our county councilman, Dave Ham. This is the kind of thing he would do. He'd be like, hey, street sweeper's coming down, could you move your car over there? And then they would sweep down, and then everybody'd move it back, and they'd sweep on the other side. Now, that kind of stuff we would cooperate with, but like to expect Felix and his crew, because you have to picture, sir, when it's snowing, we're getting...
regular, like yesterday.
But when it's snowing, it's the same concept for me. But like, we're getting yelled at, Gary knows. And people are like, you guys are lazy, you guys aren't doing a good job. My Highland streets look 10 times better than Hammond Street, so we have this happening. Well, they're out there trying to clean our streets. So to expect them to be also like, hey, can you coordinate, move everybody on Magoon to one side of the street? So it's a lot. That's all I'm saying. It's just real, because like I know a lot of people say, man, why don't they do it this way? And then when you talk to us and we actually know how it works, it's like, ugh, that's just not feasible, really.
Well, I'm just saying, it's just not, looks like it ain't doing nothing, going in and out of cars,
Yes,
you know.
sir. I agree with you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, last thing with those street lights. What's so special about Sheffield or Goslin Avenue there? When you go down Wabash, they got 2 pairs of lights on one side and 2 pairs of lights on this side. I don't know what's so special about Wabash, you know.
It was probably the council person at the time that made a decision to do lighting in that area.
Okay.
It was at the time, like, we changed how we did that when we created capital improvement. But at the time, we had basically 6 mayors making 6 independent decisions about what to do with 6 pots of money, and now we've consolidated it basically into capital improvements. So when you tell me something like that, sir, to me it makes sense why, because it was probably 2 different councilmen. One person on one side of the street wanted to do a project, and same councilman on the other side of the street wanted to do a project. So, but anyway, I appreciate your question, sir. It's right now. It's just shut down. It's
Okay, well, here's the Ioneer opener. You know, what's going to happen, don't forget you got the South Shore train, you got the track, and you got the Federal building. Now here, imagine, years ago we had Douglas Avenue going through. So here, picture now, let's say we close down Rimbach, Ogden, and Conduit, and we put it's going to be like, what do you call it in Michigan? Hookstown or something. We're going to, they want to put a federal prison there. So.
There's no federal prison. I mean, we have a federal prison connected to Hammond Jail, but that's it. Okay. I appreciate it. I'm glad you wrote it down so I can follow it up after Mayor's Night. I wanted to make sure I recognize the elected officials in attendance and thank them for being here. I want to start off with Councilwoman Janet Venez, Councilwoman at Large. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I want to thank 2nd District Councilman Al Salinas. Thank you very much for being here, Councilman Salinas. I want to thank Councilman at Large Dan Spitali. Thank you very much for being here, Councilman. And of course, our host Councilman, Councilman Barry Tyler from Hammond's 3rd District. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Did Councilman Mark come here? Councilman Mark Kowinski from Hammond's 1st District was here. He's not here anymore. Thank you very much, Councilman Mark. Hi, Bob. Former Councilman Bob Markovich.
There was something in the paper, I believe, about the water department. Are they still going to keep 165th and Columbia open, and then they're moving an office on
Good
Holman
question,
Avenue?
Councilman. Thank
Can you explain that, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hammond Water Department's in the process of moving billing to downtown Hammond, okay? We're still going to have our physical workers stationed at 165th and Columbia, but you won't pay your bills there anymore. If you go to Water Department to pay your bills, you have to go to the new place downtown when it's open. It'll be open probably within the next month or so, okay? But they're in the process of taking the old bank that shut down in downtown Hammond and converting it into the new Jaime. Oh, good. I'm sitting here talking for you. Hi, this is
No, you
Jaime
can keep
Prieto.
going. You're doing good. You're doing great.
Mark is the CEO of Hammond Water Company, and Jaime Prieto is the, whatever number 2 is called.
Yeah, whatever.
What is number 2 called?
Deputy.
Superintendent?
Deputy.
Deputy? Okay, deputy. I never know what to call it.
Yeah, just call my name. Just call my name.
Jaime,
Yeah, that's
Jaime.
it.
What's up, Jaime?
Yeah, so we are in the process of building out the Old People's Bank on Rimbach, 120 Rimbach. So I would say it's going to be a little bit longer than a month. What we're shooting for is late July, August. The building, that we are at currently, it was built in 1940. It just made more sense to purchase this building instead of renovate the building on the corner of 165th. It was a lot cheaper, put it that way. The plus side with this is that it's a former bank. So for those that just come in to pay your bill, we're going to have a drive up. So you don't have to get out of the car. You just come through the drive up, pay your bill, and be on your way. So look for us opening there, I'd say by August.
Thank you, Jaime. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, when you get your water bill, we have a new insert in there. We have a new company putting on our insert. There's a 4-pager now. I got it yesterday. You doing that still?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I was like so impressed. I forgot to tell you that because I was talking about something
Thank
else
you.
with staff. It's super nice. But in the water bill insert, so look at your new insert when you get it. On the back page, we have the summer concert series at the Pavilion. Every show lined up. We have a Taylor Swift act this year, Earth, Wind, and Fire act, Grateful Dead act. We have a lot of really good music coming to the Pavilion. It's on Saturday. Free shows, free parking, bring your own booze. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. So every night, so, you know, I'm jealous of the North Township trustee because they have a good thing going on Thursday nights out there. So we wanted to tap into that, and we got Saturday. I think Saturday night's a better night than Thursday night, and I think we're a bigger city than Highland. I think we could do a better job of packing those shows. So, Smitty, am I missing anything? This is Jeff Smith. Jeff Smith's in charge of Hammond Port Authority.
ACD cover band, Bonfire.
Yeah, who else?
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Taylor Swift, we have Frank Sinatra,
Trippin'
Pink
Billies.
Floyd. These are all covers, by the way.
High Rider.
High Rider, that's a Grateful Dead one. AC/DC. Dave Matthews. Wouldn't it be cool if we actually had the real act? But free. I said that. Thank you. Okay. So, all right.
Mayor, one last comment.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
This is National Police Week, so let's honor our Hammond Police Department.
What's it? Thank you. What's that? Yes. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, hi. Do you have a?
For doing the ornamental lighting.
Yeah, we
Is
do
that
that.
possible to
We
do?
do. No, we do. Each district now in district councilman's defense, they took a big haircut. So did the mayor, though, because when we created CIB, we shrunk the council district's budget. We shrunk the mayor's gaming money budget, and we gave it all to CIB. But Councilman Barry and all district councilmen still have a pot of money that they could do district work with. If that particular councilman wants to do lighting for their district work, they have funds that could do that. Okay, so like it depends on which district you live in and how your district council person feels about lighting projects. Okay?
Get
Yes, sir.
anything fixed. With their lighting, they're terrible. Like,
Yes, sir.
that was one question. I've been in over 2 months, called numerous times.
Is that
They
was
tell
your NIPSO question?
That was one of my questions originally.
Good.
And what it was is they'll tell you 2 weeks. If it doesn't get done, then normally 30 days, it gets escalated. Well, here's over 2 months and one light's.
I think you should go through us with NIPSO,
So
honestly.
and I'm working with Dean Button
Yes, sir.
on it. I'll get that too. And don't forget about Live in the Ville's coming up soon too.
Live in the Ville's coming up too. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Mayor, Sharon Daniels.
Just want to announce the college-bound deadline. It'll be Thursday, July 3rd. Applications need to be in by that date. No late applications will be accepted. And I think Chief Short has something.
Mayor McDermott, the Hammond Police Department, and the Hammond FOP 51 wants to invite everyone to our open house. Come get to know us. We're located at 509 Douglas Street. We should have games, K-9 demonstration, and also National Night Out is August 5th. Please come out. May 24th from 10 to 2.
We got one more question. I just found out.
One more comment.
Comment.
From a resident. I don't agree with what City Hall wants to do with Briar Eastwoods. I think it's wrong to cut down old growth forests when solutions to crossing the street safely can be found elsewhere.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate it. And I realize that there's people that feel that way. Okay. And the thing that's tough about being mayor is sometimes you got to make decisions knowing 25 to 30% of your population is going to be very angry with it. And you still, because 70% of the people support it, you do it anyway. but you know that you're making 30% of your bosses angry. That's the toughest part of being mayor, right there. So what I just said. So you want to follow that, ma'am? Guys?
Yes, I was there the night that the vote was taken for Briar East Woods, and the people that were against that vote overflowed the space. We overflowed the overflow space because we couldn't get in, because you had city workers who had already worked a full day. You had them sit there and be bodies in the seats.
Okay.
So
that's not true. I don't really appreciate people that aren't telling the truth at Mayor's Night Out, so I'm going to move on.
I was there.
I was there too. I know who was in the audience. There was employees in the audience, but there was a lot more non-employees, but nonetheless. Huh, I can wear what I want. Okay, well, I can tell you this. That project's been going on for 8 years. Everybody that supported the project vocally, Governor's Parkway, ran for election and got reelected. And this was an issue. Scott Rakos ran against the leader of the Dune Dusters in the 6th District. The main issue in that race was Governor's Parkway. Scott Rakos won easily. Everybody that supports this won. So do you expect me to suddenly change my mind when I become mayor again? I'm going to change my straight. Thank you for electing me. I don't support Governor's Parkway anymore. That's not the way I work. I support it 100%. I'm going to do it. The state just green-lighted it. I'm looking forward to driving on it, ma'am. So there's nothing really to talk about, so I'm going to just move on. Thank you for coming to Mayor's Night Out, everybody. I appreciate you all for being here. Next Mayor's Night Out is in the 4th District, August 27th at SNL.